All right. Good morning. Welcome to Forex.Today, to the YouTube community of more than 20,000 foreign exchange traders. Let me remind you. Hang on, I got to switch over here. There we go. Let me remind you that trading's risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Yo, yo, yo. My name is Wayne. I'm your best friend in Forex, and that's a good thing. Today, I recommend that we do things like cover gold, oil, and Bitcoin. We can do dollar pairs. We can do some yen pairs. Well, really, whatever you want, just let me know. We can go over all the stock markets like we did yesterday. Hopefully that was helpful. But ultimately, just let me know, and I will do my best to serve. I'm very happy to do these live streams every morning, so I want to make sure that they're useful to you. Let me know how I can help. In the description below, there's a link to my book, Strategic and Tactical Forex Trading. In the description below, there is a link to my community, fxbootcamp.com. In the description below, there's a link to tradersway.com, an ECN with straight-through processing. If you say, Wayne, I need a broker that won't trade against me, boom. Tradersway.com. You can let them know I sent you there, or you can click the link, or you could just type it in and not tell them. And really, it doesn't matter. You don't have to tell them. It's okay. They earn my loyalty and respect. If you open up a demo account, maybe they'll earn yours. Remember, their business model is based on a symbiotic relationship. They need you to succeed for them to succeed, so they value your education and hopes that it helps you become successful. Oh, over there. I'm trying to get the right size set up. There we go. Window. All right. I'll need a second in a bit because I'm drinking my Nespresso coffee, but I'm making Japanese vacuum coffee. No, it's not Swiss vac. In fact, I got to do it now. 1 second. Yeah, I bought a coffee maker that looks more like a chemistry set, and it uses vacuum to make coffee. It's Japanese, but made by a German company. I don't know. The world's confusing. So anywho, making fancy coffee. All right. So what do we got here? First of all, let's see what you want to do. Okay. Let's see. We don't have quite enough votes yet. Have you answered the poll? Maybe we don't have a lot of people here, but just because I started an hour early without telling anybody. But it shows me who's here, I guess, right? So if you haven't completed the poll, would you do that, please? We may just have to wait. Well, I think we might just have to wait. Again, I started today early. I don't know why. Yeah, Johnny, and that was in the back of my mind. But also, I was just ready. I got a lot of work to do today. But, so I don't know. I don't know why. I just sat down and boom. Yeah, we know who's got bells on. Yeah. Yeah, all right, there you go. The vacuum's starting to work. Very cool way of making coffee. Okay, so let's look at the world here. Yen is trying to, is continuing this strength move. But if we were going to measure the index, the yen index, we want to start looking like if it was going to drop, where would it drop? That kind of thing. And, it's just high enough where this can continue up for a while. And one of the things we worked on in the swing trading group recently is this idea that even though the yen was the weakest currency on the planet, and for good reason, that could radically change and it could become the strongest. It'd be interesting. Saeed says, hey, I've been following your work for 4 years. Appreciate you. Hey, well, I appreciate you. Thank you. I really hope you join FX Bootcamp one day. Okay, anyway, so Kiwi's still very, very strong. And look what happened to Australia. Australia. Let's take a look. They're so weird, huh? Interest rates like that. Yesterday. Okay, you need to read this. Well, so here's the thing. They're behind the curve, and that's not an aggressive move. Okay? A further increase in inflation expected over the months ahead, with an inflation forecast to peak around 8%. 8% inflation, and they jacked up interest rates to 3%? WTF? You see the problem there? Okay. It's 7% on its way to 8%. And they're conservative. The board expects to increase interest rates further, but not on a preset course, which means that they probably won't raise at the next meeting. What? Wah, wah, wah. But anyways, we'll see what's going on here. I'm taking a bigger look at the Aussie index. Maybe it's bottomed out. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. A little bit of a recovery today. And CAD is still just... Okay. So one of the things that we've been looking at recently is this one. And so I took a day trade yesterday. Where's my pen? Okay. Maybe you'll join the day trading group. Check this out. Beautiful little day trade. I know, right? Huh? What do you think? Good entry? G'day, mate! Yeah. So now I can afford to move my stop to break even, which is -3. Okay. And we'll see. Hero or zero. Will it break? So check this out. If I was simply day trading, okay, this is the buy and this is the exit. Okay. So when we meet today at 4 p.m., we'll go over the next trade setup. Cool, huh? By the way, thank you to the day trading group for allowing me to take a day off. We did not meet last night, but I did spend time with the wife and kids, and we had a great time in the rain, in the cold. It was wonderful. So thank you for that. A little time off, never hurt anybody. But I look at it more like, yes, I invested into the market, and yes, I invested into my family, and yes, there's a return for me personally, so I appreciate that. Aaron said, no way. No time off for you, Wayne. And I'm like, oh, please, Mr. Aaron, please. Aaron's tough, man. I'm telling you. Okay, so anyways, Aussie CAD little day trade. We set that up on Sunday, by the way. Sunday. So here it is, what is it, Tuesday. And it's set up. I wouldn't call it much of a break. So I really could just take some profit and let it run. Yeah, no pushing Aaron around, I'm telling you. Okay, looks like we have enough people answering the polls. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Pound, 33, euro. Hardly anyone trading Aussie. You didn't trade the Aussie interest rate decision, huh? Oh, all right. And nobody trading CAD, the weakest currency on the planet. Whoa. Sound like the end of Fight Club, right? Look, seriously. I don't know your reasons or rationale, but you're not trading the CAD. You're barely even interested. Really? Is that a problem, do you think? You're trading euro, which has done nothing in a week. Pound, which is, yeah. But really, you're not trading this? You're not even interested? That might be a problem. Okay. So just heads up, really. Do you have a routine? Do you have a regiment? Do you, like every day I start with this, right? I've done this exercise every day, multiple times a day, actually, for the full 20 years I've been trading. Now, I never had like an index. What I did is I had these scans. So I would spend some time and I'd look at a scan like this. And I would look through and, okay, Kiwi is on the short run a little stronger than pound, but pound's still fairly okay. Pound's stronger than CAD. Swissy kind of stronger than pound, but over the longer run, pound's been doing okay. On the longer run, pound's been doing okay against Aussie, but giving back some now, just like the Swissy, just like the Kiwi. And also I see rationale here of the end of the line based on pivots. And then something kind of similar. Now, my time frames are a little off, but whatever. Let's at least make this 4 hour or daily. I guess we can do daily. Same thing here. Okay. So I go through and I see, yeah, pound is reasonably strong, but CAD is very, very weak. Okay. So then I would write that down. Okay. Cool. And by the way, sometime in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to officially launch the fundamentally based alert service. And one of the things I'm going to show you in the process is that I've been quantitatively trading since the very, 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 very beginning of my trading. I knew absolutely nothing about trading in the market. Nothing. And I mean nothing. When I say nothing, I didn't know what a moving average was. Like nothing. But before I learned technical analysis, I did quantitative analysis. It just made sense if I was, if you would call a venture capitalist a professional investor, they don't look at charts before they make a venture investment, right? You do some quantitative analysis. So I did quantitative analysis of the market. And so I recreated the spreadsheet. Took me a couple of hours on Sunday. Yeah, so I work Sundays. Yeah, that's one thing about being a currency trader. Yeah, I work 6.5 days a week. Not quite 7. Well, 5.5. I would say 5.5. On the weekend, I certainly work somewhere between a half of a day and a full day. But anyways, I spent a few hours recreating my original spreadsheet. And I can't wait to show it to you. But I can tell you right away, okay, I would do all this and I'd say, okay, pound is stronger than Kiwi. So let's say you'd have to make a subjective decision here, right? Are you saying because it did that, or that pound is stronger, or are you saying that this is Kiwi stronger? Well, subjective, right? But let's just say I give this to pound, 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 and I give this to pound. So I would put in the column that, right, on my spreadsheet, basically, that pound is strong. And then I would say, which one is it performing best against? And I would say CAD. So then I know CAD is now weak. And then I'd do the same for the euro. I would do the same for the Aussie. I would do the same for all of them. And I'd start organizing them, right? You see? So anyways, I can tell you when I first started, the output would always do something like this. Find a reason to sell the CAD. And I'm shocked that 90% of you are not even interested in selling the CAD. Really? Why? Wayne, I always trade pound dollar. I always trade euro dollar. Really? Now, okay, euro's fairly strong and USD is fairly weak and maintaining weakness. So yeah, it's probably doing okay, but you're missing the better trades. You see my point? You're in the wrong ice hole. Have you seen the old TV show where they go out onto the lake, Lake Winnipeg, I think it is, and they're doing ice fishing? And some of them are pulling their nets up and there's no fish. And then on the other side of the lake, they're pulling up the nets and there's a huge amount of fish in the nets, right? You're in the wrong hole, man. That sounds so terrible. Oh, that sounds so terrible. But I'm trying to make a good analogy here. You're doing the right thing, but on the wrong currency pair. How about that? So today's bitch fest will be you're not doing enough analysis before you start your trading. Okay. Well, that's the thing, Ashish. Okay, and that's why I ended up improving as a trader over time, where it always explained what has been happening, but it never explained what was likely to happen next. But nonetheless, these are day trade. These are all daily charts. So the long-term trend for CAD is down. The long-term trend for Kiwi is up. You should probably try to incorporate that in your process. Okay? So look, so I would make a decision. So I could say, well, what if Kiwi CAD looks good? So now you end up going, let's look at Kiwi CAD. Okay? And now what do I do when I pull up Kiwi CAD? Now I do technical analysis. Look at this trade I set up for the swing trading group. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Look at all those beautiful trades. And what were you doing? Pound, dollar? And you missed that? Okay. So that's all. I'm just trying to show you an example. Now, this is what the fundamentally based, right? The super secret fundamentally based alert service does. Okay. It starts with Kiwi. What's the inflation like in Kiwi for New Zealand? What's the job situation in New Zealand? What's the inflation rate in New Zealand? What's GDP? Okay, I'll put that as Y. Y is nominal GDP. Okay, in New Zealand, what's seasonality? Okay, in New Zealand, how are institutional investors investing into New Zealand, right? How are their positions? What about retail positions? How are they doing? How are they positioned in New Zealand? And what's the technical analysis? Does it favor New Zealand or CAD? Okay, and then it does it again for CAD, does this for CAD, does this, right, for CAD, does this for CAD, does this for CAD, does this for CAD, compares and contrasts the two and says buy. Okay, but that's the same thing, kind of, not really. See, the downside to what I used to do, I don't know if there's a downside, but let's say the missing piece of what I used to do, again, I would look at Aussie versus CAD. Okay, I guess this is all CAD. Aussie versus CAD. CAD versus Swissy. USD versus CAD. Kiwi versus CAD. Pound versus CAD. Euro versus CAD. And I would discern from this, is CAD strong or weak? Well, in this case, look, it's weak. So I get to that determination. So that's how the index is helpful. But if you don't understand what the index is doing, then, right, because you don't understand all this other stuff, that might be, the weakness in your game. But I get to this point here after quantitatively analyzing the technical trends. I score it all up and say, well, CAD is either super weak, super strong, neutral, or somewhere in between, right? Relatively strong, but maybe not super strong, because there might be something weaker or something stronger. But in this case, it looks very, very, very weak. So the next thing that you would want to do is confirm or deny everything with technical analysis. Do you understand that? And so that's where, like, just this is a week or two ago. This might have been the swing trading group 2 weeks ago. Okay, but look at this. Up, 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 down, down, roll, reversal, buy. And look at this. It's just gone. Just gone. Why? Well, it's supposed to go up. That's what I missed in the very beginning. I used to trade what has been going up with the hopes that the trend continues, but I never knew when the trend ended. And I never knew why it was happening. And it didn't make sense to me. It just was. It just, it was just trending up. So, like, again, if you read my book, on this 4-hour chart, way to the left somewhere, I became a bull. Does everybody understand? Somewhere on the left of this chart, I became a bull. In my book, I say it's impossible for me to sell this. You have to, you got to be in a place where you know exactly what you want to do. You don't know if you're going to get the opportunity, but you know exactly what you want to do if you get the opportunity. Yeah, Felipe, look, I'm a busy dude. Actually, Felipe, I've been developing some upgrades and some sort of like bonus features that I haven't told people about yet. And so I'm putting that together in a presentation, and there'll be an official launch. So that's all. I got super secret stuff going on. Okay, so anyways, look. When I get to this point on the chart, I know exactly what I want to do. And that's where I want to get you guys. Now, you might be looking at the wrong thing. Okay? That's a problem. Another analogy is you lead a platoon of soldiers and you walk through the jungle and you find a path that you think the enemy forces use a lot. So you pick the high ground, right? Then you fortify it. You pick some crossfire positions, you fortify that. You booby trap the path, put down some claymores and tripwires, and then what? You sit and you wait. Now, this might be you trading the wrong currency pair. What happens? The enemy, they don't show up. Well, what's your job? You're like, well, Wayne, my number one job is to survive. Okay, great. But how can we win the war, please? Can we please just win the war? Can we get it over with? So you kind of want to be set up at the right place. You kind of want the enemy to come along when you have the upper hand. When you have an unfair advantage, and of course in war you want to destroy the enemy. In this case, you want to be on the right currency pair and have the upper hand. So before I even open this chart, I really need to emphasize this. I'm talking 20 years ago, but still the way that I just did it now is the same way, just a different process. Before I even got to this chart, I wanted to buy Kiwi CAD. And if you're missing that part, you'll see I can fix you and your trading is going to improve greatly. You're picking the wrong fight. You're asking the wrong questions. You're in the wrong spot. Okay. So anyway, then you get to this Kiwi CAD chart and you're like, I want to buy. Cool. Now you do some technical analysis. Can you see all the trading opportunities? Okay. If you join FX Bootcamp, you know how you can see a boatload of opportunities. It's just ridiculous how many awesome trades there are there. Right? Hunt for trades? Nice. Charts and technicals are the last part. Absolutely. 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 And honestly, I think it's the easiest part. But hunt for trades and everybody else, what happens for most people, I think, I'm talking about the 95% of retail traders. They try some technicals, some guru teaches them a strategy, and it works much of the time, but not all of the time. And so you get frustrated with the mediocrity. So you try a different technical strategy, and it works some of the time, maybe most of the time, but then it fails a lot, and you get frustrated with the mediocrity. And then you try another one, mediocrity. And then you try another one, mediocrity, and you get frustrated. But the thing is, every single one of those strategies probably works. Okay? It's like the fat general that has great strategy, but is too fat to run across a field with his rifle. And he's too fat to kick down the door and go in and clear the building. Okay, you got great strategy, but poor game. Very poor, right? And one of the things that might be is you're doing everything right at the wrong time, or you're doing everything right on the wrong pair. You're doing everything right for the wrong reason. And do you see how that could create mediocre results? Now, if you got to this pair like you were supposed to, and I'm picking on the fact that you guys said 11% of you were interested in CAD. Holy crap, you're kidding me. Wow, right? So that's why I'm harking on this. If, for example, you had spent some time, did some analysis, You might have got your way to this Kiwi CAD or the Aussie CAD or something like that. And then what? Any single one of your trading strategies would have worked here. Right, Highlander. This is just relative strength. Highlander says you usually don't trade two commodity pairs against each other, but I don't think we have fundamental macros going on right now. Right? We have seasonality issues going on right now, and that will lead to much more trading of cross pairs. Okay? And then when we resume fundamental flows, then I'll move away from the crosses and back to the sort of majors, if you will. So Highlander, this is me just going strong versus weak. That's all it is. Now you could argue oil coming down and Kiwi going up because of China and some other issues and all that kind of stuff. But my point is, I think you're good enough to succeed. And that's the PowerPoint presentation I'm writing right now to launch my super secret fundamentally based alert service. Because my goal is to get you here faster, because I think you're probably good enough as a technical trader to be profitable, to be significantly more profitable than you're on now. Because it just seems to me, based on today's poll, you're not even trading the right thing. You're like, oh my gourd. Oh my gourd. Okay? So if I can push you in the right place, whatever you're doing, you're going to do better with. Your results are going to be better. Whatever you're doing now is probably good enough. Okay? And I hope you feel the same, that if I can make some tweaks in your process, your results are going to improve dramatically. And it's not because my charts are better, my indicators are better, my custom tool is better, my secret way is better. That's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. Okay, I know a lot of professional traders and investors, and nobody does the same thing, and everybody makes money. So I don't really care what way you trade. I got to get you on the right trade. Huh? You see? It's not how you trade. You got to be on the right trade. And also, by the way, have the conviction to hold the trade longer. You can do absolutely nothing more and make more money. I'm also convinced of that. One of the things we need to fix, though, is your confidence. So we got to get you on the right trade faster so that you can be trading the right thing for the right reason, and therefore get better results, and therefore build up better sort of confidence, and therefore let your winners run. And once again, you get another level up in your trading results. Not because I shift you away from an Elliott wave and into some other nonsense thing. No, if you're an Elliott wave trader, you're going to rock. If you use moving averages, you're going to rock. If you want to just use price action only, you're going to rock. If you want to use pivots, you're going to rock. If you don't want to use pivots, well, that's up to you, but you'll probably still rock. But you got to stop pushing the boulder up the hill. You know what I mean? Anywho, let's do gold, oil, and Bitcoin, huh? Okay, let's take a look. We'll start with oil. Hey, I shorted oil yesterday. I shorted at 82. We're at 75 and some change. Look at that. 555 pips in a day. What do you stink? Huh? Yeah, look at the top of the channel. Well, we're getting really close to the 74 is the real big short-term challenge here. Okay, that's 74, 75 region. My target, my short-term target is 72. My longer-term target is 67. Huh? Yes, Ammo. I sent an email to some people about an annual membership where you pay for the year and you get a year's worth of my super secret fundamentally based alert service for included, no additional cost. So you commit for 1 year. That's all. Pay for a year in it up front, and I give you a year of the pro version too, by the way. But anyways, yeah, I'll be here next year. Anywho. So my WTI coming down. Pretty cool. Very nice. Very nice. I'm trying to zoom in a little closer. I can't get any closer. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is I did this with the day trading group. I think it must have been Sunday. One of the things I talked about is that if you lower your leverage and increase your stop, you're removing luck out of the equation. And I said very often I think traders are getting knocked out of trades because their entry wasn't perfect. And so I gave an example where I said, like, what if every single trade you had was 99 pip stop loss? Right? I said the only way you could lose money is for the market to essentially reverse, in which you are totally wrong and you probably want to be out of the trade. So anyways, I sold here, and this ended up being a great example, so maybe I'll bring it up again in today's day trading group. But what happened to me? I made $2, then I lost $1, and now I've made $5.50. The thing is, there's a pretty big chance that people would have got knocked out in here and missed the trade. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Whether you get knocked out for break even, knocked out for loss, but I survived this pullback. Okay. And the lesson I gave was right in there when we were still just tickling 82. So that worked out really nice. That was a good lesson. Hope says, if you cover it in the room, we trade it. I traded it because you covered it in the room. That's the reason I traded it. That's pretty funny. Okay. So anywho, not a perfect trade, but let's say a reasonably managed trade. Okay. XAU. Remember, I had this set up like a head and shoulders, so I thought down a little bit more, then up, and then maybe down. Might be too early. Okay, might be too early. We might be a couple of weeks early on this trade. So don't get too excited. Let's analyze where we are. The trade would be probably this spike. Remember, we covered this yesterday. Selling off the central. Now, I look at this chart and I actually think S1R1 for next year. Okay. And if the Fed is successful in the first 6 months lowering inflation, this is probably going down. Okay. I don't think this is going to go up until the Fed is going to try to create inflation. Think about that. When is the Fed going to try? It was about 82 degree, something like that. Okay. Sold it off the central is what it was. Monthly central. So anyway, I don't, so like technically that's what this chart says. But when is the Fed going to try to increase inflation? I think it might be a very long time before, because if the Fed is trying to create inflation, this would go up. But I have a feeling like that could be a long time. Okay, that could be a long time. So we might see 1,500 before anything, and then what? Well, the fundamentals will take over. I mean, it'll go wherever it wants to go. But you can almost chuckle at those that significantly trade in gold, because you go 2 years ago, here's the high. 1 year ago, here's the high. Okay, and that means what? This is on an inside year, the projected high for the year. And then you have to think about, okay, the Fed was stimulating the economy. Okay, and the Fed is slowing the economy down. What are they going to do next year? Make the economy expand or make the economy contract? I think they're going to make the economy contract. So there's a lot more pressure built in the future here. Right? Because what made this go up was the Fed trying to get the economy to expand while we were getting crushed by COVID. So that ain't going to happen next year, is it? I mean, that's going to be your opinion. I think it's going to be deflationary, right? Hey, JGB. Hey, I got your emails. Yeah, let me respond to you later today, okay? So anywho, there's your oil and your gold. Do some where's my biddy? I want to change this now to Bitcoin. Where's my bid? Where's my biddies? Have you seen my biddies? What the hell? I don't know all the codes. Nat Gas, Nat Bryant. Ethereum. So these are stocks. This is crypto. All right. Let's see. No. I'm missing it, huh? Some of them are up here. Bitcash, Dash. Who trades these things? Brent, silver. Where is it? Euro. Oh, there it is. Phew. So I'm watching this closely. I'm probably going to exit a position here today. We are not climbing the ladder. Hey, Jim, I responded to your email yesterday. I'm not sure if you responded back, but I'll put some more thought into it if you don't think that's the right solution. Okay. Hey, by the way, after 2 years, the U.S. government finally has renewed my green card. It only took them 2 years to make the decision. Okay. Well, Jim, I want it to be fair and right for everybody and all that kind of stuff, but, you know. Yeah, it took 2 years to renew my green card. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? I've lived here for, 30 years. I've created a couple of Americans that now drive cars, by the way. Holy crap. I pay more in taxes than most people earn in income. And it took them 2 years. Oh, I have FBI background checks done multiple times because I'm in the finance industry. Like, dude, seriously, it took 2 years to say, yeah, okay, to that. It's not like, I'm on some list. I have a complicated history there, right? There's a lot of things that can make that complicated, I think. Right? Like, were you in Afghanistan recently? Yes. I should have been the easy. It should have taken 5 minutes. Right? Like, seriously, right? Like, but anyways, just so you know, if you happen to live in the United States and your green card is expiring in 6 months, dude, it's going to expire on you. I applied a year early and got something like 3 extensions. They extended me 3 times. And then finally, on literally the last week of the second year, like almost, like literally so it was over 100 weeks. And then boom, they finally just, yeah. So, but they won't let me run for president. It's too bad. But after Herschel Walker, I don't know how it's going to go down today. Today's the big voting, but I'm not making a sort of a political comment about Walker personally, but it's going to sound that way. But dude, the guy has no credentials whatsoever, and he may or may not become senator of the good state of Georgia. I'm like, dude, I could put together a better resume than Herschel Walker, and maybe do some public speaking as well. Like, dude, if that's all that's required, oh my God, I have a shot. Like, I would love to become senator in the United States of America. It's even a congressman, but senator is a big deal, right? Like a congressman, you're like, oh, good for you. But a senator, that you can skip all the other stuff, you're like, just become senator. I'm like, I should just do that. Right? So, holy smokes, right? Yeah, that's funny, right? Yeah. Well, now that my kids are older, right, my thought is if I can find a way to make hundreds of millions of dollars, I'd probably leave the United States because I would have to pay taxes here. And if my kids are all growed up, they went from itty bitties to biggins, me being Canadian, I can live here 6 months out of the year, not pay taxes. I could live the other 6 months in Hong Kong, not pay taxes there either. You know, all of a sudden I'm like, you start to do the math and you're like, if I gave up my green card and I was making that kind of money, I would be saving 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollars a year in taxes. And I'm like, So that's why I've never upped the citizenship. 30 years ago, I was thinking that way, like, hey man, if I got to roll, if I got to move, right? Give me the room, give me the juice. Then I can just whoop. Suddenly I have a green card in Hong Kong. So that's the thing in America, you pay taxes no matter where you make your money in the world. If you're a citizen, you move to South Africa and make money, you pay taxes in the United States. It's really a interesting concept. So anyways, I always got a get out of jail free card by maintaining the green card. It's kind of cool. I'm lucky I'm Canadian because only Canadians are allowed to live in the United States 6 months out of the year. Huh? Anywho, just thinking out loud, it's cool. Another reason to make $100 million a year, right? Got to have motivation. Okay, so anyways, Bitcoin, I'm worried about this. And if it goes lower, I'm going to cull the herd on my Bitcoin position. AKA go to good old American cash. Mark says to the treasury, love you. Well, you know, I love this country and I have no problem paying taxes. The solution to high taxes is just make more money. And in America, you can. And that's what I like about America. It seems weird to pay money on deals I do overseas. That doesn't seem right. But if I own apartment buildings and I'm earning income and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you should pay your taxes in America. If you made your money in America from Americans transfer their wealth to you, yeah, sure, pay taxes, kick down, come clean. Don't be a holdout machine. I'm all for it. But if you go through the history of the world, you get to a point in economic and social maturity of the country in which there's just not enough money to go around. Okay? happens every single superpower eventually gets to this point where there's so much debt. And it's normal. See, in the beginning, the superpower, people want to lend you money because you're the superpower. You're the only place it's good to make money with, right? So it's just a normal process for then the debt to pile up. And also it's a normal process, for example, for that superpower to do business with countries around the world because they have a lower standard of living, a lower cost of production, and wages and all that kind of stuff. So it's just normal for a superpower to eventually delegate everything from its economy. So everything is manufactured in that country. Everything else is done over in this country because they have lower costs of production and a higher return on investment. So right? What happens is a superpower invests overseas. Now, there's many different ways. You can send your navy and take over the country, but now we use just trade. So you always get the higher return on investment because the superpower gets too expensive. So it always starts doing business outside. And then those countries want to lend and borrow and all that kind of stuff. And what always happens is the superpower gets to the point where there's just too much debt. And they're not growing anymore because, well, they're not productive anymore. They're making all the other countries productive. And this maintains for a while, right? But then what happens is this internally, so the social infrastructure breaks down because, there's cultural things where basically everybody gets fat and lazy because they're so rich. You don't see fat and lazy people in poor countries. You got to hustle or you don't eat. And there's all these things that start changing, right? And what happens is the country is taking on debt faster than it's making money. So then the government says, well, we want to give these people some resources because, well, they need it for this reason, this reason, this reason. And then we want to give other people these other resources because they need it, and so on and so forth. Well, in the beginning, you do that because you have so much money. Well, later on, you're like, we want to give retired people access to affordable prescriptions, and so we're going to compensate, right? And you're like, this is a good and noble cause, but the government doesn't have any money, so now it starts borrowing, right? So it borrows the money to do good for its people. But what it's supposed to do is collect taxes and then invest the taxes into that. You don't pay taxes and then have the government go borrow more because that's a tax. And some Americans will have to pay it back. So to tax and then sort of double tax, if you will, for a noble cause is still bad mathematics. I don't think any of us is doing that in our household, so why should the government do it? So anyway, so what'll happen is the government will need to raise taxes, but raising taxes is unpopular. So what do? They raise taxes only on the rich. You following me? Makes sense. You're like, well, those guys are so rich, they live in castles and they fly in their jets and they're evil and bad and they owe us and they stole from us and they should give it back. The only way you can get that rich is if you steal it from the poor. And so now we have to take it from them. They either give it or we take it. And all of a sudden there's a rallying cry. So what do you think the rich people do? And by the way, I'm not talking just this civilization we're in now. You can go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It always goes down the same way. It always goes down the same way. What do you think happens to the rich people? And it'll happen here just like it's happened everywhere else. Anybody know? What would somebody do that lived in a society that threatened them like that and they have means to do almost anything? Charles, rich people don't start revolutions. They fund it. What does, just literally, not the outcome of it, What do the rich people do? Yeah, you got it. Made in Jim got it. They leave. And it's all mismanagement from the government, by the way. If the government made different choices, these things wouldn't happen. But the government's always in between a rock and a hard place. There's the thing to do that's mature, like what mommy and daddy should do, right? Mommy and daddy are supposed to make hard and tough decisions, right? But governments are not like that because they got to get reelected. I think that's part of it. So what happens is, well, they appeal to the masses instead of being the mommy and the daddy. See, the mommy and daddy would say, no, you can't have that toy. We can't afford it. Oh, but mommy, all my friends have this toy and I really want it. I really want it. Oh, okay. I'll buy it, but I'll put it on my credit card. Oh, dang it. Okay? The government is not supposed to be that way. But it always is. It always has been. And so if we continue in that way, most likely we'll get there. I'm telling you, the only way out of our inflation right now is to raise taxes. So we're going to go through years of mediocrity until the government will be forced to raise taxes. But who are they going to raise taxes on? Okay. Well, if we get in a situation like that, well, I'm not saying I'll play my card, but I have an out card. Is that right, Stan? And that says a lot. Norway's a rich country, comparatively, right? Okay. So anyways, be interesting. Be interesting. So anyways, there's the fundamental rant of the day. Okay, let's switch over to, hang on, I want to look at Bitcoin one more time. Where are we? 17,000? See, if it drops, I might have to take a little more off the top. So I'm kind of I'm thinking out loud as I watch this. Let's just quickly do another level of analysis here. Neither here nor there. It just hasn't been moving. We're in a buy zone, but in a downtrend. So what that means is Bitcoin should go to 18,000 and then collapse. And we're at 17. So, I'll probably have to, I have some Bitcoin I'll probably cash out of soon, maybe today. Lucas says, yeah, we see it here in the United States, people leaving California to go to Texas to avoid tax. Well, yeah, and avoid is a strong word. You could argue that it's just logical. One of the great things about the United States is you can easily do that. You're like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving California. I'm going to Texas. Now, we do see that in businesses as well as people. Yeah. Texas is being competitive. Now, I lived in California for over 20 years. I believe I was paying 10% tax because I was in the highest tax bracket for California. I think I was paying about 10% state tax. And 1 year, and by the way, living in California, all the roads are bad. The traffic is bad. The bridges are bad. The highways are poorly maintained. And then, you go to the state parks and everything is overcrowded and the schools are bad. The prisons are full. It just goes on and on and on and on. And I'm paying 10% taxes. 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 And I'm paying 10 and it's just like, where does it go? Where does it all go? Literally, I remember one time I'm driving down the 101 and I'm looking at all the houses on either side of the freeway. And I'm like, it looks like a third world country. The houses are crap. They just happen to be $1.5 million, but they're terrible houses. Then you look up into the hills and the neighborhoods are poorly designed and they're poorly built houses. They're just crappy houses. And boom, and then you hit a pothole in the freeway and you're like, this place is a disaster. And you can just drive for an hour and it doesn't get better. And I'm like, this should be the most beautiful, like the San Francisco Bay Area with the Silicon Valley and beautiful San Francisco should be by far the most beautiful place on earth. It should be utopian paradise. There's so much wealth. It's unbelievable. And it's crap. It was crap. And I'm paying 10% taxes. So anyways, I got an IOU from the state of California once. They sent me a letter. The state of California owed me $50,000 in a tax rebate. State tax, mind you. State tax. $50,000 the state owed me. The government owed me $50,000 and they didn't have it. I got an IOU. I got an IOU from California. Something that should be the richest place on earth. Amazing, right? So at least in America, you can leave. How many years ago did that happen? 16 years ago, I guess, about there. Yeah, probably a little later than that. No, it was maybe a year after I started Non-Farm Payrolls Live. I know that was 16 and a half years ago. It was after that, but right around then, actually. Did they pay me interest? I think the answer to that, I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember. I can't tell you for, you would assume, but maybe not, huh? So anyways, let's say 15 years ago. That's amazing, huh? But America, you can just get up and leave, and you can go to Texas if you want. You can move to Georgia if you want. Not a problem. I had previously been to Austin, Texas. I thought it might be a place where I can move, because I was checking out places in the United States to live because I felt like the stock market and the real estate market was going to crash. So in 2006, 2007, I was looking for places to move. Now think of this. 2007, I'm looking at places to move because I think there's going to be a real estate and stock market crash. Isn't that funny? And I went to Austin, Texas, because I heard a lot of amazing things about it. I was trading. I think I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, trading Forex. I finished my big mug of coffee, and I was ready for the next big mug of coffee. So I walked down the stairs and into the kitchen, and I got another pot of coffee going. And I noticed, because now it was like, I don't know, 5:12 a.m. And the first ray of light popped open above sort of the red rocks of Austin. Just the first ray of light. So I grab my cup of coffee, and I go to the sliding door in the kitchen to go out to the patio, and I slide the door open, and whack! It hits me. It's 100 degrees. Over 100 degrees. It's probably 105 degrees at the first ray of light, and probably 80% humidity. The first ray of light for the day. And I'm staring at basically desert, red rocks, red sand. And I'm like, holy shit. I almost fell over because I'm in beautiful air conditioning, right? It didn't compute. It looked like a beautiful, cool morning. I'll go out, enjoy my cup of coffee. And I'm like, I can't live here. Just right then and there, I'm like, I shut the door. I can't live here. Okay. Saeed says, any plans to move outside of the USA? Hong Kong. I like Dubai, but I don't think I'd want to live in Dubai. I think I'd like to maybe own a place in Dubai and fly out there a lot. But Hong Kong sounds really good to me. I really like Hong Kong. A friend of mine who just recently passed away, he used to manage a business where he made something like $5 billion a year. Not him, but his business. And he was the founder, and he ran it for 40 years, 50 years or something. So anyways, he was a billionaire. And he had citizenship in several countries around the world because he did so much business with these other countries. Switzerland, for example, he had a big enough. He owned a company there that all they did was hedge his currency risk, and so he had about 8 to 10 employees in an office, and they did several $1 billion a year in trades, and so he got Switzerland just gave him citizenship. So I asked him. I said, "Hey, man," because this was. Probably around that time, I said, hey, if you were me, if you were going to be married with kids and you live somewhere else in the world, where would you recommend? And he said, and I thought he was going to say Zurich. And well, I don't speak Swiss German and I don't think I want to. But anyways, he said, Hong Kong, just like that. And I'm like, really? Married with kids and raised kids? He's like, yeah, the schools are awesome. Neighborhoods are great. The families and the communities, the food, the culture. He's like, Hong Kong, without a doubt. I'm like, oh, snap. Okay. Maybe Singapore. Singapore's nice, but I think it might be just too quiet. You know what I mean? Just slightly. I think you'd get island fever. Right? You just get antsy. Once you've done everything 10 times, you're like, everything else is, The Philippines, I don't know much about the Philippines. I know people have gone there. And for whatever reason, I don't really hear fantastic things about Philippines. Right? Yeah, so I can't say... I can't say. Yeah, but maybe. But I don't think so. But anyways. James, California, Oregon, Washington, New York, people flooding into Chattanooga. Yeah. Chattanooga is actually pretty good. I like Chattanooga. There's a little cafe I always swing by. It's out of the way. But I leave the freeway and I cross a bridge and I go over the water and then I go under the bridge. You come around and there's an old warehouse area. It's got some restaurants and cafes and stuff. And so I always swing by there. I forget what it's called, Honey and Milk or something like that. The Honey and Milk Cafe. And it's great because, I lived in I lived in San Francisco for many, 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 many years. And so you go there and all the cafes are run by lesbians. And I'm like, oh, lesbians. I'm so happy. I want a high five. Hey. But apparently that's rude. But it brings that old vibe of being in San Francisco again with the old warehouses renovated into cool coffee shops. And they're like, oh my God, this is great. I love it. It just reminds me of the old days, right? So anyways, but, I don't think you should be fist bumping the girl at the cash register. But anyways, it's honesty. That's why I like to swing by. I'm like, yeah, miss the old days. James was in Hong Kong 2016. Small island. Yeah, no personal space, but a lot of activities. Yeah. I like to get out and about. But you can get a small apartment in a decent part of town. Decent meaning like you sleep in your apartment, and then the rest you kind of just you get out. I'm okay with that if I didn't have kids and stuff. And the money is not crazy expensive for a big international city. So like, I saw an apartment on the Hong Kong side, in the hills above Center, and it was an older building, and it was, I think, the top floor of this building, 50, 60 stories high. And so you had this smaller apartment, enough for one or two people, right? I think one bedroom, pretty big size, living room and a dining room and in a reasonable kitchen. But then there were stairs that went up to a rooftop deck. That's what I need. That's what I want. And there was a barbecue. It wasn't huge, but there was a barbecue. There was like, and it was all set up really nice with sort of like wooden furniture and a wooden deck. Like it was actually done nice, and they had plants up there. And of course, a place where I could sit and smoke cigars and look at but it was like $1 million. Yeah, but it was something like that, like $1 million US. Dude, New York City, that doesn't even get you a parking spot. You can't buy anything like that for $1 million in New York City. Nothing. So I'm like, dude, this is it. And the cool thing is if you own it for, I think, like 10 years, right? I think you own it for like 10 years, and you get like a Hong Kong citizenship or a Hong Kong kind of green card type thing. So I'm like, just own it and rent it. I mean, I don't know. So it's interesting, right? Charles is there. Right on. I'll tell you what, why don't you guys get like 50 people in a group willing to pay money for a weekend or a couple of days of training? Fly me out there so we can cover the costs. I'd love to go back to Hong Kong. Love Hong Kong. All right, so anywho, let's do some dollars and then call it quits. Pig is giving back. Aussie's giving back. Okay. CAD's still getting crushed. So we got some dollar strength here. And probably USD CAD is the best one just because CAD is so weak. We'll look at Euro and we'll just leave it with Euro because this analysis now is about a week old and it hasn't really gone anywhere, which means the longer the more the more it doesn't go up, the more it's likely to come down. And remember, the thought process here is somewhere in December, this rolls over. Remember, we talked about that in April. We talked about somewhere by the end of December, sometime by the end of December, like a euro dollar rolls over and this comes down. Okay. Now, we found a better trade than this in the swing trading group, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Okay. But that's kind of logic. Yeah, downtown Chattanooga has really done well. It's okay. There's a cool cigar bar that I was going to go to, but I actually didn't go to in Chattanooga. I'd looked it up. I stayed at the Marriott in Chattanooga because I'm a Marriott guy. Yeah. I really enjoyed going up onto the hill. Actually, there's Hong Kong again. I actually did this once. You go to Chattanooga, and they have a tram that goes up the side of a steep mountain. Okay? I did that one weekend. The next weekend, I went up a tram in Hong Kong that goes up a steep mountain. I did it in Chattanooga, and then I did it in Hong Kong, just like days apart. I thought, you know what an interesting world, right? But nonetheless, the museum up on the hill was really great, and the history, the Civil War battles that took place along that hill and along the riverbank, just super fascinating. Right. It looks like a giant hospital or something up on that hill, and I don't know anything about it, but when I've swung around going to Nashville, you kind of have to swing around the backside of that hill, and there's a giant, it looks like an old Civil War hospital or something. I don't know what that is. I want to kind of check that out. Yeah, Rock City's really cool. I did that with my kids. It was really cool. We had frog legs at the top of Rock City. So anyway, it's very interesting. So if you guys have a chance to check out Chattanooga, I haven't gone to the Chattanooga Choo Choo, so I thought I'd do that someday. And then of course, everybody knows about the museum for tow trucks. The International Tow Truck Museum is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So anywho, I'm watching that for rolling over. It hasn't done it yet, but maybe it will. So I got to go. I got to watch my Bitcoin. I got to watch some oil. I got to watch some things. I got to do some things. I got to answer some emails to some people. It's going to be a busy day. What day is it? Is it Tuesday? That means today's a busy day at FX Bootcamp. If you're in either of our live trading groups, then you're meeting today at 2 p.m. with Ryan for the Stop, Look, and Correct session. Doesn't matter if you're in the day trading group or if you're in the swing trading group. Everybody is welcome. You go into the swing trading group room at 2 p.m. Okay? And then as soon as it's done, boom, you got to then meet with me. Although I really think maybe we should kind of move that. And so that I honestly think it's too much for you guys. And the last thing I need is you guys burning out. But anyways, we'll stick to the current schedule. You start with Ryan at 2, and then you start with me at 4. Okay? And if you had to, if you're like, dude, I can't do both, it is too much, do Ryan's. Okay? Don't worry about me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Okay? Meet with Ryan for that stop, look, and correct session. And for everybody else, I really would like to invite you to join FX Bootcamp. I honestly believe it'll have a meaningful difference to your trading. So, anyways, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Please have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.